Mm-hmm. He joins us right now, but first, his walk-up music, please.
Get money, yo.
My man, what's up, brother? Philly Godfather. Give you a call back in a little bit.
East Coast, Philadelphia, born and raised. In the streets is where I spent most of my days. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. Went against my dad's wishes when I dropped out of school. But mom didn't raise no fool, nor a rookie. My life took a change when I found my first bookie. I'm ditching the streets, full of drugs, thugs, and thieves, trying to get this paper and a cheesesteak from Steve's. Next thing I know, I'm one of the wise guys. It's like larceny, and we exchanging high fives. I don't care who wins, beat the number with the challenge.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Joel McHale's the guy, and you know why it's stupid that I don't remember him? Because I was actually in the audience at one of the Soup's
Talk
taping.
Soup?
Not Talk Soup, it was just the Soup.
Oh, the Soup.
Henson did it when it was Talk Soup.
Okay.
And then Joel McHale really made that thing pop. And his floor manager knew who I was when I was sitting in the audience and introduced me to Joel McHale up there on Wilshire Boulevard in the studios.
Does he follow you on Twitter?
Who, Joel McHale? I don't think so. Well, I know who does, though. This man. The Philly Godfather, ladies and gentlemen, ready to fire. He saw all those numbers, the overs and unders.
Oh.
Philly Godfather, are you getting excited now, man?
I'm starting to read on this baseball season, and the one team I get a feeling, I get an intuition about this team. And last year they were horrible. They only won 46% of their games. They ended up 75 and 87 on the season. But something about this team this year, and you know, we bet them. It's the Cincinnati Reds. You know, we were on them a lot last year. And we were betting them on the run line plus 1.5. And if you remember, this is a team that lost 30 games last year by 1 run.
Yeah.
Okay. And now if you look at their season win totals, now obviously the Cardinals are the favorite in the NL Central at 32.5 wins. But then you got the Brewers, Cubs, and Reds with the same exact win total at 31.5. So to me, right away, that's an indicator that the odds makers are high on this team. And then if you look at this team's pitching with Sonny Gray, Castillo, Bauer, they got Miley on there, who should be better this year. And then you look at their bullpen. It's kind of deep with Garrett, Glacius, and Strop. And they pick up that Japanese kid with a real cool name, what's his name? Shogo Akiyama. They signed Moustakis. They pick up Castellanos. They still got Vada. This team can pound the ball. And in the 60-game season, I kind of like them. I think they're going to go over that 31.5 win total. And I took a shot on them at 30-1 to win the World Series. Now, I'm not saying they're the best team in the NL. Obviously, the Dodgers are really good. The Braves are really good. But this is a sleeper team that if they start off hot, because last year they started off 1-8 to start the regular season. They were trying to play catch-up the whole time, but they lost so many close games. This year, if they can come out a little quicker and barring any type of injuries or any of this COVID stuff, I mean, as long as it doesn't hit any of these star players on this team, I like the Cincinnati Reds. I think they're going to make some noise. I think you can cash a ticket going over 31.5 wins, and I think they make the playoffs.
And by the way, Malcolm Jenkins just texted me, and he said that he's not going to watch the Cincinnati Reds unless he can get them down to like 30. And so that's if he can't get them 30 wins. No, but you're right. There are 9 teams who are in that mix of 31.5 wins.
Yeah.
You mentioned you got the Phillies, the Padres, the Brewers, the Angels, Cincinnati, the White Sox, the Cubs, Arizona, and Boston even in that mix.
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, you look at the Yankees' win total at 37.5, and you say to yourself, well, that's not a lot. But last year, this team won 103 games, which was basically 63% of their games. And at 37.5, for them to win 38 games, that's 63% of their games again. So don't get fooled by these low numbers. It's still a high percentage. And, if you're looking to go over on the Yankees, and in the year that anything can happen, especially with injuries, and God forbid, Garrett Cole comes down with COVID and he can't pitch for 2-3 weeks, well, then there goes your shot at going over 37.5 wins for this Yankees team. So it's going to be a very interesting year. It's going to be one of those years. Now, I'm not sure how the managers are going to play it, but with you're only playing 37% of your games this year. What are you playing? 60 games. You're missing out on 102 games. So these pitchers who have limited pitch counts, are they going to let them pitch? And if they do let them pitch, well, then that's going to mean less middle relievers. That means you're going to see less people getting walked. You're going to see less runs in this game because it's going to go from starters just to closers. So if you're looking to bet the under in a lot of these totals, you might find some value. It depends on how these coaches play it.
Yeah, that's the thing about the virus you bring up, like with Garrett Cole as your example. When you have that hanging out there sort of as a specter hanging over the league, does that get you to sort of shade these totals to more towards unders than overs, the win totals?
Yeah, absolutely, especially with teams like the Yankees at 37.5. You got the Dodgers. You got, I kind of like the Twins, though, this year. But teams like that, the teams that you're paying an inflated price anyway, you're paying a premium to go over, their win totals. And with that, lurking, I would kind of look to go under.
The Philly Godfather, firing away, man. Now, I mentioned all those teams in there at 31, and then you got the two worst teams, Baltimore and Detroit, both at 21.5 total wins. I mean, we know they're going to be bad, but can they surprise either one of those teams? I don't mean by winning. I mean by winning maybe 30 games or 25.
Going over the total.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
Least, yeah.
I can't. I bet. We tried to bet early. We were looking to go under in Detroit season win totals. I think it was set at 56.5. So when it was at 56.5, we didn't think this team had a chance of going over. So there's no way I'm betting this team to go over in a short season like this. Baltimore, they're in a tough division. I mean, you got the Yankees, Red Sox. Tampa Bay is one of those teams that has great starting pitching, great closers. So it's just, I'm not looking to go over on the Orioles either.
Yeah, well, then they also have to play the NL East teams too in their interleague. So they have the Braves and that staff and the Mets with that pitching.
It's tough. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets, Braves, even Washington. I mean, the pitching staffs on these three teams. The NL East is going to be tough. I kind of like the Braves, even though they've won it 2 years in a row, and I think the Phillies got a shot if everything goes their way. But with the pitching on the Mets, and I'm actually expecting Washington to regress a little bit, but still, it's going to be hard to win 32 games in a 60-game season. People don't think it's a lot, but it's going to be very difficult for the Philadelphia Phillies team.
Well, plus they lose Rendon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking to Mark Gubas earlier, and hey, people forget that Rendon's with the Angels now. And you look at the Angels, are they spectacular? No, but they've got talent. They got a lot of talent. I mean, their lineup is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! I mean, he's playing next to the best player maybe of all time, Mike Trout, and their win total is set at 31.5. So that's another team if you want to look at going over. I think they got a shot. Now it might take a little bit of time for him to get used to being in that lineup, but I mean, you got two amazing players who are probably the best in the business.
Now Rendon can fall out of bed and go out there and slap a ball into the gap. He is. We were talking earlier, and I remember watching him when he was playing with the Nationals.
In the playoffs.
The guy is the coolest, cute. You can have the entire stadium going crazy. And you watch that guy, and he's stoic. He's locked
Dialed in.
He is completely locked in. There are very few players who are as locked in as Anthony Rendon at the plate.
Well, we call him the Joe Montana of baseball. I mean, that's how cool, calm, and collected.
He really is. That was a great pickup for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I know we're on baseball. And then you look at some of the other stuff in baseball and, MVPs and all that stuff. Does any of that, I know, can bet on it.
Right.
But, I mean, will they be taking a lot of action? Like Mike Trout. I mean, isn't he going to be hands-on, the early favorite to be the MVP of the American League?
Oh, it's him and then it's everybody else. I think he's at like plus 150 and then the second favorite's at like 10 to 1. So, I don't know. It's good. It's hard betting against him. He's just unbelievable. But, I mean, in a season, this is that year that anything can happen. This is 2020, man. I mean, you look both ways while you're trying to cross the street, and then an airplane comes out of nowhere and hits you upside the head. Like, it's one of those crazy years.
How you doing? You still killing in the Korean baseball?
I tapered off a little bit. I was as high as 75%. Now I'm back down to 65%. But even at 65%, it's a great year, especially when nothing else is really going on. I'm piggybacking Piggy's soccer. He's been on fire. We got that new show I'm doing with John Layfield and Coachman and Piggy and Joey Odessa. It's called Follow the Money. So we're shooting pilot episodes. And Mike Mansouri, who's the producer, who was the number one producer at the WWE for like 15 years, he's producing our show. And he said, you know what, let's throw it on the podcast, let's throw it on iTunes, and see what happens. And in only our second episode, we broke the top 100. And in Costa Rica, where that's where all the sharp money's at. We're number 5 in Costa Rica, so all the sharp guys offshore are listening to us. We're making some noise. It's really funny. The other day we had Coach was flexing. I forget why he started flexing, and then Piggy takes his shirt off, and he starts flexing with him, and it's the funniest thing in the world. If you guys get a chance, make sure you guys watch the clip.
I got to watch it. Now, you were telling me about your podcast. You're on Twitch now, where all the hip kids are. Follow the Money. But that's on YouTube, right? That's not on Twitch, is it?
And iTunes.
It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. It's a podcast, but we've been filming it, and we've been showing the clips on Twitter sporadically, the funniest clips, and it's hilarious, man. We can't stop laughing. It's such good chemistry. A lot of great guys on there. And we had Eddie Alvarez on Monday. So every week we're going to bring a different guest on there. Tony, you're going to come on. Harry, you're going to come on.
Absolutely.
We got Ryan. What's that guy's name that killed Bin Laden? Ryan O'Neal.
Yeah, no, not Ryan O'Neal. Ryan O'Neal used to be in Peyton Place. I know what you're talking about. He's the sniper. He's the American sniper.
He's supposed to be coming on. We got a lot of interesting guests coming on every week, and Layfield's one of the best in the business. And I mean, they're talking about September. We could be on national TV by September.
Beautiful. By the way, I have breaking news from ESPN Stats and Info. For the first time in 11,016 days, Liverpool has won the English top flight with 7 games remaining. Liverpool clinched the title faster than any other club. Man City and Man United shared the previous record, clinching with 5 games remaining. Wow. How about Liverpool, Harry? Now, you're all over that English Premier League with your buddy there, Piggy, right? He's all over.
He's dominant.
He's been killing
Tony, you're thinking of Robert James O'Neal.
Yes, I know. He said Ryan O'Neal accidentally, and it's Robert O'Neal, the American sniper.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. I got to get one of those 50 caliber shots. You can shoot that baby 1.5 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, the Barrett, the 50 caliber gas release.
Oh man, I can need one of those real bad, man. I need one of those real bad.
Yeah, I'm watching this right now, and the Piggy's got his shirt off, and he's doing like the wrestling.
Are they like the Djokovics out over there overseas with Jokic and
no,
Djokovic?
this does not look like the Djokovic crew. That is it. And you got the sunglasses
I can't
on.
see this. Let me see this now. Piggy takes his shirt.
He's got the shirt off.
Oh, man, really?
Yeah.
Really?
He's got the man boobs.
75 pounds.
375.
All sexy. All sexy.
Yep.
I'm glad I had my my Atkins bar already before I saw that. Now let's get it to now the NFL. We saw that Malcolm Jenkins. I don't know what impact that's going to have on the football season. But anytime somebody says something about I'm concerned about playing, and football was the one sport where they were doing all their necessary to get people ready and training camps and virtual drafts and everything else that they pulled off perfectly. Will any of that change? I mean, well, Malcolm Jenkins has an impact. Players will listen to him. You think this is going to affect a lot of other veteran players who are going to say, hey, you know what? Thinking about that, I got kids. I may not have $70 million in the bank, but I'm not ready to go back unless I know that I don't have a chance of getting this thing.
I mean, greed usually wins out. We saw it with baseball. I mean, at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, and you look at your bank account, you think about another year with the bills coming in, and all these athletes know that 80% of all athletes after they retire go broke within the next 5 years. So it's a money issue. I think they're going to play. I know they canceled the Hall of Fame game. I was really upset because I had Pittsburgh plus 2.5 against the Cowboys. That really upset me.
I can't believe you were upset at the first exhibition game of the year.
God,
Man. Come on,
me. I don't want to give it away what I was looking at, what I was reading on, but the Steelers were going to kill that Cowboys team in the Hall of Fame game. But I sure hope not, man. I mean, we need the NFL as a country, as a nation, as sports bettors, as sports fans. We need the NFL more than ever.
As Americans, too, and as Patriots. You're not a Patriot if you don't like the National Football League. Well, if you're Patriots, you don't have Tom Brady anymore. You got your own problems now.
Yeah, he's out of the division, right? So we got to cheer in the Buffalo Bills in my future at 33-1. That team lost 6 games last year, twice to Tom Brady, and then 5 of those losses was by 1 score or less. So you take him out of the equation. You got to love the Buffalo Bills to win that division, to go deep in the playoffs. If they get home field advantage, watch out. You got to go up there in freezing weather to play that Buffalo Bills defense. You got a shot at cashing that ticket.
This is the time to fire on all these, all the totals, right? You got NFL totals. You've got we mentioned the baseball. We've got NBA,
college football. Play it.
Now, what about NBA with the situation that they're going down there in the bubble? Does that change the dynamic of betting with no fans in the stands and no home court advantage for anybody?
I think it hurts teams like the Denver Nuggets who had, a real advantage playing up there in Denver, their home court advantage. Now, the Sixers we keep going back and forth, right, because they had the worst road record in the NBA, one of the worst. They were one of the worst road teams in the NBA this year. And now they're going to go down there, but are they focused? They're young. They're hungry. Sometimes you got to throw everything out the window and start over. And this is a team that I mean, if it wasn't for that lucky shot by Kawhi Leonard last year, they're in the NBA Finals. So I think you can get 27-1 on the Sixers right now, which is just way too high on a team with that much talent. I just think that I think you got to nibble on the Sixers a little bit.
What's the number?
They can get 27-1.
Oh, that's pretty good.
To win it all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may throw $1 down on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you got to do that.
I got to go to Parks.
Parks opens Monday.
Parks Casino.
Yeah.
It's starting to bubble up, man. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? It's like Old Glory, which I think they're going to have. They're going to cancel Old Glory. Old Faithful. I'm sorry, not Old
Faithful,
Glory.
yeah.
Old Faithful in Yellowstone Park. That baby's ready to blow at any moment. Well, it does consistently. I mean, it goes multiple times a day.
It stinks up there.
It does stink.
It smells like sulfur.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Atlantic City's opening back July 2nd, so they'll be ready for July 4th. I'm headed down there. I'm looking to bet Drew Lock to win the MVP at 75-1.
Drew Lock, the quarterback
to win the
for
MVP
Denver.
at 75-1.
It's a sleeper, man. I also bet the over 7.5 wins for the Broncos. If you guys remember, this team struggled at the most important position on the field last year with Flacco, who was giving away games.
Yep.
Like McDonald's gives away Happy Meals. That's my favorite line. And they had Brandon
They don't
Allen
give away
going in
Happy
there.
Meals anymore. Come on, man.
Brandon Allen was going in there and giving away games. I mean, they were so bad. They threw like 9 touchdowns in 11 games. And then Drew Lock came in. He went 4-1 straight up. The only team he lost to were the Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. He threw 7 touchdowns in 5 games, completed 64% of his passes, and he was doing it with an offense that was ranked in the basement of the NFL in scoring and overall offense. So this year they give him Jerry Jeudy, arguably the best wide receiver coming out of the draft. They had Cortland Sutton, who had 72 catches for over 1,100 yards last year, and they pick up K.J. Hamler from Penn State, who's no one's talking about this kid. He had 98 receptions for over 1,650 yards.
Yeah.
A lot of speed on this team. And we're not even talking. They got the tight end, what's his name, Noah Fant. That kid's a beast. He was
From
averaging
Iowa.
like 14 yards per reception. And their running backs may be the best 1-2 punch in the NFL with Lindsey and Melvin Gordon, as long as Melvin Gordon can't get hurt. So this team's got a lot of weapons. I mean, and I like the kid. He's a big, strong kid. I think he comes out swinging.
How's their O-line?
Their offensive line was hurt last year. The Broncos were the 8th most hurt team in the NFL last year. This year they're going to be healthy. They're going to get stronger. They're going to protect that kid. And with all the speed on that team, I mean, if you blink, those wide receivers are gone. And the defense...
He's getting me fired up.
Yeah, I'm getting
so
fired up,
hyped
too.
on this
Fired
team,
up.
I may have to do a reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
Or at least reverse cowgirl. Something reverse.
This defense, their efficiency numbers were slightly better than average last year, right?
Yeah.
But you got to remember they had one of the worst offenses in football, and they still got a top 10 pass defense. They pick up that kid from Jacksonville, Bowie, and Casey in that deal with Tennessee. And you got to remember they were playing some of the best offensive teams last year. They played 10 teams that ranked in the top 15 in the yards per play metric, and they only let up 19.75 points per game. This Denver Broncos team's for real.
Wow.
Going over 7.5 is stealing, Tone. You're stealing money.
I know.
Going over 7.5.
I need to steal some money. I should be breaking into banks right now and running in, taking it out because they don't arrest anybody anymore. I'm the only dope that's not stealing stuff.
Would you believe you can go into a bank with a mask on and no one even blinks an eye these days?
Harry can't even
You
get
can't
into
even
his
go
bank.
in the bank. You got to make an appointment.
Yeah.
I'm serious. You can't go into the branch without an appointment.
Not my bank.
Wells Fargo.
I'm not a
well,
Wells Fargo. Not my Wells Fargo.
Now, we hit those safety deposit boxes. We're okay.
Damn right, man. Straight cash, homie.
Do you
Gold, bullion, all that stuff, man.
Do you think they end up playing preseason games at all this year? Because I saw Michael Lombardi tweeted that he thinks the canceling of the Hall of Fame game is the beginning of the canceling of the bulk of the preseason.
It could be. He's usually ahead of the curve,
Yeah.
so he's probably right. He's pretty sharp with that stuff. I mean, I just want to fire. Just give me some games to fire. Give me some games to handicap, some games to unload on. And this way we can talk some smack on Twitter and give out winners.
Right.
I'm right. I want winners. I want winners, and I want locks. Not bagels, though, because I'm screwed. I'm off the keto, and I'm losing weight. 2 days off the keto, and I'm down 5 pounds.
Put some locks on a bagel.
Exactly right. Philly Godfather, I'm telling you, now people want to know about the golf. Now, you don't dabble with golf very much on the Travelers. Do you have any action on that?
We piggyback a lot of that information because, I leave my ego at the door. You can't handicap everything. It's hard, you know what I mean? But if I get anything, I'll give it out on Twitter for free for everyone that's listening. So make sure you guys follow me on Twitter.
At Philly Godfather on Twitter. And then, of course,
Follow the money.
Follow the
is
money,
the show.
the podcast, and, of course, PhillyGodfather.com.
And let me say one more thing, Tony, before I go. Anytime my sharp guys match up with Harry's golf, it's unstoppable. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Let me write that down right now. Anytime
the sharp guys
match up with
match
Harry's
up with
golf,
my golf, it's lock.
I just don't understand that. Can you explain it again?
Harry's pretty good at what he does, put it that way.
Yeah, he's all right. He's not bad. Even though he wouldn't go with the Dixie Chicks at 2:00 in the morning, I had to force it out of him. I was setting up one of those dumb hypothetical. Hey, if the Dixie Chicks were at a bar, you were there at 2 in the morning, and they asked you to go back.
Mm-hmm.
He was waffling, and then we had to bring him back again. And finally, he said, I don't go out. I wouldn't be in a bar at 2 a.m. I said, Harry, play along. It's a joke. Cheap.
And follow the Philly Piggy too at Piggy4280.
Love
I
Piggy.
know Piggy would end up with the Dixie Chicks.
No doubt about it. No doubt.
Shirt off and everything.
Oh man, that'll clear that bar out fast.
They wanted me to baby him all.
Oh really?
I couldn't do it.
No.
Come on, man.
No way.
Oh, man.
It's a crazy show. You guys got to check it out.
I got to watch it, man. Philly Godfather, he's the man with the plan. Thanks, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Good luck, guys.
Let's give him a roaring round.